To no one's surprise, Kyurem is the next raid boss in Pokemon Go. Following the Tao Trio here, we had the Reshiram, we had the Zekrom, and now we have the Kyurem. So this video here is covering the details of the Kyurem raid, letting you know who the best counters are, comparing and contrasting them, giving you some details on the duo attempt. It's actually a pretty easy duo, and letting you know how good Kyurem is in the raid and trainer battle metas. And a little TLDR here, a little spoiler, it's not that great, but some details you might want to know. At any rate, let's get into the counters. So here I have a graph of the Kyurem raid counters using all of Kyurem's movesets averaged. Kyurem has Dragon Breath and Steel Wing. It also has Dragon Claw, Draco Meteor, and Blizzard. And this is a Dragon Ice type Pokemon. So very threatening to Dragon type counters. Counters themselves are level 40 unless stated otherwise. Against it, they're not dodging, and we're assuming that they have best friendship. So you're going in there with your best friend, getting that damage bonus. X-axis here is TDO, total damage output, which is basically the percent damage that the Pokemon should deal to the raid boss on average before going down. You could think of it as a more useful metric for tankiness. And then here, the Y-axis is the DPS, damage per second. So the higher up you are on that, the faster you can bring down the raid boss. And to help validate this DPS and TDO even more, I do have duo DPS cutoff lines and double Relobby avoid TDO and triple Relobby avoid TDO. So basically, if your Pokemon is above the duo DPS line, your chances of completing the duo with a trainer of equal or greater power is much higher. And if you are to the right of the double Relobby avoid TDO, if you are attempting to do a duo with a friend, or any group size for that matter, as long as you're to the right of that line, you shouldn't have to relobby twice. And if you're beyond the triple relobby avoid TDO, this small group here, then you shouldn't have to relobby thrice. However, if you're doing a duo and your team's like nothing but Haxoruses and your friend's team is nothing but Haxoruses, you may have to relobby like 4 times. So yeah, duo DPS here, but it's not going to be an easy one, that's for sure, if you're going with Haxorus. At any rate, for the more casual players out there, the more up and to the right your Pokemon is, so basically the Pokemon in this box, the better they're going to be. And as you can tell right away, the best Pokemon for the Kyurem raid is absolutely going to be that Metagross. On top of that, Metagross, if you have a 15 attack IV and it's level 40, it can get a best buddy breakpoint if it's your best buddy, because best buddying gives you effectively 2 power-ups, right? 2 power-ups beyond level 40. And because of that, you get a special breakpoint, allowing your bullet punch damage to do a little bit more. And yeah, so really nice there. If you're up in the Premier Cup and you want to know who you should best buddy for the Premier Cup, well, Metagross just seems to be a pretty ubiquitous choice for this month. And of course, Shadow Metagross is going to be more powerful than the OG Metagross. However, the Meteor Mash is a community day attack, so it's kind of difficult for these Shadow Pokemon to get it without an Elite TM. And if you're not willing to spend an Elite Charge TM on your Shadow Metagross, well, the Flash Cannon variant is down here. So Flash Cannon Shadow Metagross is better than most of the counters to this raid, if you really think about it. It doesn't have the DPS of some of these other guys, but it's like tankier than them, so they're all above the duo DPS line, right? So Flash Cannon Shadow, who cares? But yeah, just to let you know, that's where this guy lies. But Shadow Meteor Mash Metagross is above 36 DPS. Yeah, above 36. So this graph here cuts off at 32. Each block here is 2 DPS, right? That goes above the graph. That goes above my computer monitor, that DPS there for scaling. So yeah, Meteor Mash Shadow Metagross is kind of a monster. It's kind of crazy. Now, Metagross aside, another really good counter for this raid is going to be that Aura Sphere Lucario. Now, Aura Sphere does sound like a special community attack, but it's not. Any Lucario can get Aura Sphere on it, so that's pretty nice. So definitely a less exclusive option for this raid. And if you're looking to go a little bit thrifty, you're on a budget here, you don't want to max out these Pokemon, well, level 38.5 is a really good cutoff for Lucario. It's basically as powerful as the level 40 variant. And then for both Metagross and Lucario, they have breakpoints at level 31, which are basically as good, if not more powerful still, than a lot of the other counters to this raid at level 40. So if you do have a bunch of Meteor Mash Metagrosses that you caught, they're all like level 25 to 30, right? Well, maybe you could brush them up a little bit, give them a little candy, a little Stardust, make sure they got Bullet Punch, and that squad will probably be a lot better than like maxed out Shadow Smackdown Tyrannitars. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a pretty easy raid if you're working on a budget. Now, of course, this Ice-type Pokemon does have Rock and Fighting-type weaknesses, as well as the Steel-type. So the OG fighters like Conkeldurr and Machamp and Hariyama are all pretty good options for this fight as well. Hariyama and Machamp may be riding that double Relobby Avoid TDO line a little bit there, but if your party is greater than just 2 people, or you've got some Metagrosses in the mix too, and you're trying to do the duo, I think that will more than make up for their drop in TDO. And of course, we have the Rockrucker Hyperior and the Terrakion going on here. Shadow Caesar, and what is this? Metal Claw Dialga. Yeah, Metal Claw is going to be better than Dragon Breath in this particular raid. Dragon Breath is a pretty poor move when it comes to raid bosses, so Metal Claw is just better than it. This is Metal Claw and Draco Meteor, but Metal Claw with Iron Head isn't that far behind. Same goes for the Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath will want Draco Meteor, but Iron Head isn't that far behind. So if you don't want to monkey around with TMs on your Dialga, your Master League best buddy Dialga, most likely, you don't have to. It's still above the Duo DPS line, still beyond the double Relobby Avoid TDO, so definitely a solid Pokemon. But if you do want that extra level of consistency for the raid specifically, then Metal Claw. Now when it comes to all the typically good Dragon-type Pokemon, they're not exactly bad for the Kyurem raid. It's just that Draco Meteor will probably one-shot them, Blizzard will definitely one-shot them, so it's really hard for them to get their charge moves off or get multiple charge moves off before going down. If you do want to use like the OG good dragons like Rayquaza, Salamence, Dragonite, you're going to want to get some dodge action in there because they're going to go down very quickly to all of Kyurem's attacks. And that's the main reason why like the Steel, Fighting, and Rock-type Pokemon that aren't weak to its attacks are the ones that end up performing a bit better in this particular fight. And if you're thinking, Ryan, Swag, is that Kyurem up there? Kyurem's looking pretty good. Why don't I just power up a Kyurem for the Kyurem raid? Well, this is Kyurem Black. And that's an important thing to distinguish here, is that there are 2 alternative forms to Kyurem, Kyurem White and Kyurem Black. Basically the lore of Pokemon, of Kyurem, I guess, and the Tao Trio altogether, is that they used to be one almighty like super Pokemon, and then for whatever reason, like they split. So then like, I don't know, Zekrom and Reshiram like left Kyurem, and then Kyurem's like this husk of the previous god Pokemon or whatever. And Kyurem Black is when Kyurem fuses with Zekrom. Kyurem White is when it fuses with Reshiram. And even though the lore says that there is this Omega form where they're all fused together, it's never existed in the games. So I don't know if they just slept on that or they don't want to do it or what, but there is no Kyurem Black and White. There's just Black and White. So I don't know, weird. At any rate, yeah, those Pokemon are really freaking powerful, and for raids, Kyurem Black is just way better than Kyurem White. And when that guy comes out, it will come out, because it's been data mined and everything, so eventually, well, they share the same candy pool as Kyurem. So as you're going to find out in a little bit here when I talk about Kyurem in the meta, Kyurem's really not all that hot, but it does have Kyurem candy. And these guys use Kyurem candy. So really good Pokemon there. And if you need some motivation to fight this easy guy who doesn't seem to be good for anything, well, there's your motivation. Easy candy. It's an easy duo, man. Why not? By the way, if you want to reference any of this information in like a text format, definitely check out my article on GamePress, Kyurem and its place in the meta. You can see that it has some nice reference information. For example, its max catch CP and its max catch CP when it's boosted by weather, and some other helpful tips about Kyurem. It has my graph there for easy reference, so you don't have to keep coming back to the video for the graph or like screenshot the video. And if you scroll down some more, you can see I got a nice breakpoint table for you for other Pokemon that aren't just Lucario and Metagross, which could be helpful for you. So link in the description if you want to check it out. I recommend it, especially if you're trying to power stuff up on a budget here. And with that out of the way, let's talk about Kyurem in the meta. So when it comes to Kyurem in the Pokemon Go metagame, it's not that good. Yeah, so as far as raids are concerned, it has a lower attack stat than Dragonite, and it has a worse moveset than Dragonite. So if Dragonite's like the benchmark for what could be a good Dragon-type attacker or not, it's not passing it. And then as far as being an Ice-type attacker goes, it doesn't have an Ice-type fast move, and it only has Blizzard. So yeah, there's no way that Kyurem is going to make it as a Ice-type attacker. Now, it could have some swag in raids. I mean, it does have Dragon Breath, and it has Dragon Claw, so that's like the bread and butter to be a good Dragon-type Pokemon. However, Ice-type doesn't really do anything for Pokemon. Really, it just holds them back. Like, all Ice-type Pokemon don't want to be Ice-type Pokemon because they have so many weaknesses. So, on top of that, it also has lower stats than the Dragonite in the first place. So, in many roles, anything that you'd want to have to do with a Kyurem is going to be taken care of with a Dragonite already. So, yeah. But there is a silver lining to all this, and that is that Kyurem gives you Kyurem candy, and Kyurem Black is insane. Kyurem White's pretty good, but Kyurem Black is definitely insane. So, easy source of candy. You may as well go for it. Super easy duo. Why not take advantage of that situation? And that's all there really is to be said about the Kyurem raid. If you have any questions on this content, comment below. Let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. I'd also like to give a special shout out to these Patreon supporters. You want to support the Swagman on Patreon? Link in the description.